Have you ever found yourself stuck inside a wall of trees without an option to escape because you are a video game character and your video game programmer did not yet develop a feature which could help you because your video game programmer was way too busy doing more important things? Bruh. If that's the case, you clicked on the right video, because today I'm going to show you how I, the video game programmer, added a JetPack feature to my very own game ExoColony. I also added another secret Discord feature voted by my community. If you want to support your local video game programmer, feel free to subscribe to this channel, join the Discord server or follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Links are in the description. Enough of the advertising, let's jump right into it. If you watched my older devlogs, you might remember that I added a jump feature to the game to prevent the player character from getting stuck inside buildings. Now, that worked fine for a while, but since I added a super neat building mode to the game, the problem was back again. Now, I could have just implemented some kind of super jump to the game, but I thought of another idea which I had in mind for quite some time. A jetpack. The jetpack would give the player the power to fly over all environments and buildings on the ground. What a great idea.
But if the player can just fly over everything, then there's no way to prevent the player from just discovering the world in easy mode.
No problem. I'll just add a fuel stamina bar to the system, so the player can only fly a certain distance until the player has to land again.
But what if the fuel runs out while the player is over a forest or some other kind of building?
Easy. Then the player lands on the nearest free tile, I guess.
But then the player could cheat and skip a lot of distance in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll find a solution for that, but that's for later. For now, let's focus on the jetpack implementation. So, I jumped into Sprite and started to pixel a neat jetpack animation for our little astronaut character. After that was done, I started to implement the feature in Unity. I programmed a jetpack idle and jetpack moving state, put everything together and gave the jetpack a first try. It worked to some degree, but of course there were some problems, as you maybe can see. Some mighty bug fixing sessions later, I fixed everything and I was now able to use the jetpack as I intended it to. I also found a solution on how to fix my problem from earlier. I just decided to make it so that when the player starts a jetpack session, a landing platform will spawn exactly where the player started. If the fuel runs out while the player is mid-air, the player will then be teleported back to the landing platform. Don't ask me how that makes sense. We are talking here about some very complicated high sci-fi technology which no known human is smart enough to understand. With this new plan, I went back to Sprite and pixeled a landing platform and also an animation for when the player runs out of fuel. Then I went back to Unity and implemented everything that was left. I ran into some minor bugs when it came to the landing platform spawning, but I was able to fix that and then almost everything was done. Except one thing. If the player has fuel, it should also be possible to see how much fuel is left. So I once again went back into Sprite, made a cute little jetpack UI for the fuel meter and then added that to the game. And here we are. The player clicks a button and switches into jetpack mode and can then fly around until he or she either lands or the fuel is empty. If it's empty, the player will be teleported back to the landing platform. The fuel regenerates itself while being not in jetpack mode. Quite simple actually. I still wanted to add some polishing to the feature, but before I show you that, let's have a look at this devlog's secret Discord feature. As always, I asked the lovely people on my Discord server to vote for a smaller feature, visual effect or piece of content I should add to my game. This time, the community had to choose between tree variations, a wooden fence, a footstep visual effect and a water shader. And the winner of this week's secret Discord feature is the water shader. Awesome! So, after I made a cloud shader for the last devlog, I now had another chance to dive into Shader Graph and create something neat. And that's exactly what I did. The basic idea was that I wanted two water textures moving against each other in a sine wave-like motion. That was quite easy. The more difficult part was to mask out the part of the water tiles which are not actually water. For now, I just added a color mask, but I'm sure there's a smarter way to solve this. Nevertheless, it works just fine. So, let's have a look at the final product. I would say it's an upgrade. What do you think? Please tell me in the comments. If you want to vote on the next secret Discord feature, feel free to join my Discord server where you'll find the next vote. Now that the Discord feature is done, I still wanted to add a little bit of polishing to the jetpack feature. At first, I just added a really simple particle effect to the landing platform. It's not perfect, but I like it now a bit better, because particles make everything better. And then I also added a light source to the jetpack, because especially if it's night in ExoColony, the fire bursting out of the jetpack should be visible and even shine some light on the environment. And that's already it for today. We will see each other soon in another video on this channel. Until then, have a good time and goodbye!